has been paid for by the New World Order.
Hey everybody, Big Dog here. If you could be so kind as to give me a like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're liking the content. Also, if you're looking to interact with me a little more, there's a link in the description box below of every video that I do. It's a link to all my social media accounts, Twitter, Twitch, my Discord server, TikTok, all that good stuff, if you want to interact with me a little more. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did. Now, what do you say we get on with the show, huh? What's happening, everybody? It is your man, Big Dog here. Welcome to episode 208 of Doghouse, baby. Today is a very special day because I am not filming this episode on the normal day that I would be filming this episode. I'm filming it on a Thursday because tomorrow I am leaving for vacation, and this vacation is to celebrate my birthday. That's right. Your boy is turning 29 years old. Yes. Jesus Christ, I can't believe it. Oh no, I'm one more step closer to 30 years old. After that, oh no, nothing I can do for myself. Anyway, tonight's episode is hopefully going to be a shorter one. I doubt it though. But the first thing I want to talk about is something that I saw not too long ago. Apparently, there was an article written by everybody's least favorite gaming journalist, Kotaku, and it was about one Jimmy, aka Mr. Beast. Now, those of you who don't know, Mr. Beast has been going through it the past year and a half so with his best friend, Ava Chris Tyson, unfortunately having some not so savory allegations thrown her way. But I'm not here to talk about that right now. Recently, Kotaku said something about Mr. Beast that ended up not being true when you find out the full context, and it just shows you how bad these gaming journalists really are. But excuse me, let's get right into the video. It is a video by Optimus titled "Kotaku Slandered Mr. Beast with Fake Quote. WTF." Here we go.
Alright, what's going on, everybody?
What's happening?
Back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at a situation involving Kotaku and Mr. Beast. Now, this is a pretty shitty instance, in my opinion, of the media basically getting a situation so wrong that it leads to millions upon millions of people being misinformed and possibly even influencing their opinion on somebody. I know Mr. Beast in the last year or so has been in the crosshairs a lot for a lot of different things. Lots of
Which is what I just explained. You know, the Ava Chris Tyson situation, the faking charity situation. You know, like I said, he's been going through it. But excuse me. Let's see what Optimus has to say.
thrown his way over his YouTube content, his affiliations with people like Ava Chris Tyson, all these different situations and whatnot. And I think it's fair to criticize him for those things, and it's fair to bring up things like that. But this,
I agree, because especially the Ava Chris Tyson stuff, that was that was no bueno, first of all. And then the whole stuff with his YouTube content being faked and all that put a big damper on him, which it's kind of sad. It's really sad, because I thought the guy was doing some, or at least we all thought he was doing some really good stuff, and I was hoping that it would lead to actually governments looking at this and saying, we need to step our game up. But, well, you never know.
has really nothing to do with any of those situations. This is just an instance of a massive media company just absolutely publishing a complete falsehood about somebody that in turn led to all these people on like social media and whatnot coming out making insane comments shitting on the guy. I really think it is very possible that the original Kotaku headline, article, everything combined might have been seen by tens if not hundreds of millions of accounts on Twitter. It was
that's not
insane.
good.
I mean, not only did publish this article, which literally had a made-up quote in it that was left up for over a week, by the way, before being edited. They didn't even go back and correct the mistake until Mr. Beast himself came out publicly and shit on them for actually doing this. So on February
I wonder, did they apologize for what they did? I hope they did.
20th, Kotaku published an article that was initially called Mr. Beast, Life is So Much Easier When You're Broke. Now, this...
Yeah, I can understand why people would have a problem with that. I would have a problem with that, because, like, dude, really? Really? You want to talk about my life be... fuck. Let me not get into it.
Literally never said by Mr. Beast. So this all started with a podcast appearance on, I believe it's called Diary of a CEO, and it's this podcast where they bring in like business people or folks who've like created their own business or their own platform or whatever. They kind of interview them about their life. What do they do? What do they think about their work? Things like that, right? Pretty typical. When Mr. Beast appeared on this podcast and he was speaking pretty candidly about things, he talked about like his personal issues, like, you know, him having Crohn's disease, things like that. Well, about 45 minutes...
Now, this I didn't know. Apparently he has Crohn's disease? Huh. Okay.
Into this episode, he said something that was literally spun completely out of context and was made into this like massive situation. I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip of what he actually said first, so you can go ahead and just have that in mind and ready to go. This is literally, by the way, more work than what the Kotaku journalists who wrote the article about this put into their own work, so...
Oh, man. Remember when gaming journalists used to actually mean something? It's sad what our journalists have become. Bunch of hacks.
Go ahead and take a look.
So much easier when you're, bro, if you don't travel constantly, life is so easy when you just wake up in your own bed and, like, waking up in your own bed and working 15 hours in, you know, your office or whatever. So easy compared to, like, all this fucking bullshit where I'm like, I don't know the time zone I'm in, I don't know what place I'm in, I don't know where I'm going in 2 days. It's like...
What the hell is he wearing?
Like, I mean, some days I'm going to bed at 10 a.m., other days I'm going to bed at 5 p.m. And
So if you didn't really pick up...
I don't necessarily agree with that entire clip, but I get where he's coming from.
On what he was saying, I guess the point really here was that when you're actually home where you're used to being, you're in your own time zone, you can like kind of go off your own routine, you can sleep in your own bed, it's way easier to get work done and to be, you know, your normal self than it is to be like halfway across the world filming in a different time zone with jet lag and all this other shit factored into it.
Okay. In that sense, yes, he does have a point. I can understand where he's coming from with that.
But in there, he said, bruh, and this was misconstrued and was spun to say that he said broke, okay? Now, the problem with that is it makes him sound like he said life is so much easier if you're broke. Now,
Which is obviously not true.
obviously, no one took too kindly to this. He's a huge influencer online. He's obviously very rich from what he's done. So to people who just saw this quote and it was spun out of context and whatnot by Kotaku, it immediately got people pretty pissed off and riled up. There were dozens of tweets, many of which actually went pretty viral, of people shitting on Mr. Beast over this entire thing. You know, how dare...
I mean, can you blame them? Granted, it's not entirely their fault. He was misquoted by Kotaku, but at the same time, it's like, I would be pretty mad if I heard that too.
You say life is easier when you're broke. Fuck you, man. You think it's so easy to live life broke? Then you fucking try it, dude. You know, people were fed up over this one. And if that's actually what he said, I could really understand the reaction where it's like people feel insulted by that or whatever. I get that. I'm really not here to necessarily blame the people who reacted to this as much because they pretty much just saw a headline from what's supposed to be a reputable outlet at Kotaku and they just assumed that it was true because when these journalists are always publishing shit like this, the idea is they're supposed to like cross-reference and fact-check what they're saying. I mean, these people demand respect as journalists or whatever. They think everybody is supposed to respect them for their hard, integral work to our society.
I mean, back in the day, yeah, that's true, but nowadays, I don't know about that.
society, right? But it turns out it's not very hard work at all, because the person who wrote this whole article and left it up for an entire fucking week plus before editing it after getting called out by everybody, including Mr. Beast for this, they weren't even like fucking important enough to actually watch the video. In fact, I looked at the edit from the article at Kotaku, which came so far after the article came out that I assume most people didn't even fucking see it or cared at that point, right? And so here's what the edit actually says on the article here after they went back and corrected everything, quote unquote corrected it.
Oh, here we go.
Prior version of this article incorrectly quoted Mr. Beast as saying easier when you're broke when speaking about the challenges of his current lifestyle. The misquote came from a transcript provided by PR for the Diary of a CEO podcast ahead of the episode's airing. Mr. Beast has since clarified his statement in a post on X/Twitter, and we've updated the quote in the article's headline accordingly. So it took them...
Let's be real though. That should have never happened. That should have never happened. Like, come on, man. Actually do your due diligence here. Ugh.
Bruh.
Yeah, y'all get a bro on that one.
multiple days to correct a story that they had already published, that had already went viral online. Like I said, you know, Mr. Beast actually had to respond to this and essentially forced Kotaku at that point to actually correct it. I'm pretty sure if...
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't blame him. If I found out somebody said this about me, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't say that.
Mr. Beast didn't come out and respond to this, Kotaku would have left this shit just the way that it was, knowing damn good and well that the quote that they said he made, and by the way, made the headline of the article, literally wasn't fucking real. A news site lied and said, I said, life is so much easier when you're broke, which I didn't say. Now I'm waking up to millions of people believing the lie and hating me. Being famous is so much fun. And as you can see, he provided one of these tweets that blew up that says, fuck you N-word. It has 627,000 likes on it. 12 million.
Jesus Christ.
Views across Twitter, by the way. And this
Ugh.
is literally just one retweet of the original tweet by Kotaku. So like I said, I'm pretty sure at this point, this lie that was made up here was seen by tens, if not hundreds of millions of people online. Now, the obvious
Oh,
problem
man.
is, even if you clicked the article and read it, they went off the assumption that this is what he said. But most people don't click and read the article. They see the headline and that...
Yeah, that's true. And and I'll be honest with you guys, I'm one of those fucking people. I'll give myself an L for that. I'm one of those people. I'm not gonna... Granted, I've read articles before, but I won't like actually read the article. I'll probably just skim through it. But oh man, Optimus has a point, man. Like, that's the problem. Like, these news articles, they have to get like these headlines that jump at you because nobody's reading their shit anymore. Because it's crap.
That's what they gauge their reaction on. I guess you can kind of blame people for that to a certain degree. But like I said, the article itself had to be corrected because the whole
Exactly, the article
thing
had to
was
be
built
corrected.
on this misconception that that's what Mr. Beast here said. So it wouldn't have really mattered even if you clicked the article. That's what they were fucking presenting to people. Now, I gotta admit, I would be pretty fucking mad if a news company, quote unquote, with hard-hitting, quote unquote, journalism, people who supposedly go to college to do this job, right? You have to have a degree to do this fucking job. It's supposed to be, you have to respect journalists. They do integral work. They're working hard every day bringing you the facts. Well,
Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
I mean, again, like I said before, that might have been true like a couple of years ago, but not anymore.
are they really? Are the journalists at Kotaku bringing me hard-hitting facts? Because usually they're writing rage-bait articles that half of people who read them fucking despise. The company has been circling the drain for the better part of a decade now because they have a reputation for being garbage journalism to begin with, right? And even when you're supposed to like actually hear what they say, they're too fucking lazy to cross-reference something to the video itself. Now, once again, if you look back at that correction that Kotaku made, they basically pinned the blame for this whole thing on a transcript provided by the podcast that Mr. Beast appeared on. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. I mean, Kotaku literally fucking lies in their articles. But
That's true.
even if it is true, it doesn't excuse the fuck up by Kotaku. Because what they're
Ding, 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 ding. He's absolutely right. That doesn't excuse you. That doesn't excuse this mistake. You still, as a journalist, should have done your due diligence. You can't sit here and demand respect and not do your fucking job properly.
basically saying is they wrote this article, they didn't even watch the actual video that they're like making the article about. They just read a transcript provided by a PR employee who wasn't on the film set for the video, more than likely, wasn't involved in the creation of the video. They essentially quoted a third-party source within the company instead of watching the publicly available video. I mean, I'm a fucking freelance like YouTuber or whatever, right? And I put more effort into actually seeking out the clip of what he said and providing it to you in this video than the college-educated quote-unquote journalists over.
God, that's insane. It's insane when you do more work than a fucking journalist.
At Kotaku, they were literally too fucking lazy to watch the video that they were writing an entire article about. Because why would
Sorry.
you do that? You know, why would you actually understand your source material, actually know what you're talking about before you say it?
Because that requires effort.
That would be pretty fucking stupid, you know what I mean? So unfortunately, this went viral, and it went viral many days, right? Like people were talking about it for several days, and it wasn't corrected until the whole post by Mr. Beast or whatever, which I assume his tweet probably did more to like clarify the situation than any quote-unquote correction that Kotaku could have made. But even then, the damage is already done. Like 95% of people who saw the initial headline and they made their mind up or whatever about it, they're never going to see the correction in the article, and they may never even see the tweet that Mr. Beast made where he's actually clarifying what happened here. Now, the problem I have with this is I get everyone makes mistakes, you know, you fuck up, right? But this is a company that is publishing journalism to an audience of millions of people, and in this instance, their tweet went so viral, tens if not hundreds of millions of people saw it. It's lazy journalism. They didn't put any effort into fact-checking anything that they said before they posted the article. They forced the people that they basically slandered in this instance to actually do the correction for them. And then they were so fucking lazy that in the correction, they pawned the blame off on the people that they cross-referenced everything from, which was a third-party source inside the group, instead of watching the actual video. And then it's literally just a small paragraph at the end of the article, and they changed the headline around a little bit. That way, you know, it doesn't look so bad. The funny...
God, that is so lazy. You didn't even... Oh, man. Let me guess, they didn't even put out an apology for this, did they?
Thing about journalists are whenever you shit on them, or whenever YouTubers especially shit on them, we criticize them, we call out the bullshit that they do and they say, we call out all of the fucking lies and the lies by omission that they publish in their shit, we call out the hit pieces that they write on other YouTubers frequently, or content creators online that they're jealous of because YouTubers and the new media are taking the attention away from drain circling companies like this. They get real fucking mad about us, right? And they get mad about the facts and about the truth. You guys have to be truthful about what we're doing. We're doing hard-hitting journalism.
Stop the cap.
No, you aren't. No, the fuck you aren't.
We deserve some respect too. But
No,
then
you don't.
when the same generosity of just, you know, knowing what the fuck you're talking about, which is literally their job, when you ask for that to be reciprocated, they can't even do the bare minimum. Like I said, I get Mr. Beast has kind of walked himself into some holes or whatever with the community. A lot of people are really mad about him. They don't like his content. They think that he's an asshole. I understand that. I understand the criticism about that, but this is just inexcusable regardless. If you're gonna shit on somebody for something that they did, fair game, you know? I'm all for it. You know, you want to criticize somebody for what they say or what they do in their actions, that makes sense. I get it. But this had nothing to do with anything that Mr. Beast said or did. This was such a colossal fuck up that in all reality, if anyone was still trusting Kotaku's input on most things anyway, this is one of those things that should take you completely out of that pool. And I think this is a...
I 100% agree. This is one of those instances where people need to look at this and say, yeah, no, we're not We don't like this anymore.
Another perfect example of why the mainstream media, the legacy media, all these websites and these article publishers, all this shit, it's another example why they're circling the drain so bad, and why people on YouTube and on streams and stuff, they're more trusted by the community at this point than these people who supposedly are actual journalists or the actual press. It's because they don't even want to do the bare necessities, right? To actually do their fucking job, but yet they want to command respect and dignity and whatnot from everybody else. Okay, well, you will get my respect when you actually do your fucking job next time. When you're capable of watching a 30-second video clip that, by the way, it wasn't hard for me to find this. If you want the honest truth on how I figured this whole thing out, there was a Twitter community note posted on Kotaku's article, which, by the way, they deleted the tweet. That way people can't see
Of course they
it
did.
up or whatever, right? But
Of course
there
they
was
did
a
that.
community note that linked the YouTube video, and it was auto playing at the time of the clip. That's literally all it took in order to find out what Mr. Beast really said. It was probably 45 seconds of effort searching on Twitter to find the real quote. But the people who work at the journalist company couldn't even take that 45 seconds to figure it out. It really is a huge embarrassment and a huge L for Kotaku on this one, man. And I usually don't say like, oh, sue, you know, get legal teams involved or whatever, right? But if I'm Mr. Beast in this instance, like I said, this shit was viewed by so many fucking people. And it's something that could actually genuinely damage his reputation. And it's not something that he said or did that could have damaged his reputation. It was a made up quote out of thin air. If I were him, honestly, man, I wouldn't even be mad if the legal team had to be involved. Like, as of now, like if we saw an article that said Mr. Beast is suing Kotaku for making up a complete fucking lie about him and publishing it for tens of millions of people to see, I really don't think that I could fault him or blame him, because
And I'm going to be honest with you, I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree. If this is going to happen, then there should be consequences. If you're going to sit here and make these kind of accusations, there needs to be consequences for it. But what the hell do I know? Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode of the Doghouse. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, stay tuned. I'm going to be playing a little bit of Warhammer. And if you're on the YouTube side, stay tuned for the meme of the day. And I'll see you next time. Peace.
I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?